Influencer Live Video Challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, also known as Pajama Grandma, of course, sipping my coffee, trying to pump up my energy to work on my move. Today, we are going to talk about help. And since I was in journalism for a long time ago, the 5 W's and how are always my go-to when I'm trying to break down a topic. I always ask myself, I still do it subconsciously. A lot of times I'll write it down on paper, who, what, where, when, why, and how often about the topic or the subject at hand. Now, with respect to asking for help or getting help in our influencer or our live video business or whatever our business is or whatever it is that we're doing, here we're talking about becoming an influencer and using live video. How do I know? Who do I know? How do I go about getting help and asking for help? Now, I am a stalwart, wait till the last minute before I ask for help kind of person. I mean, I actually dropped dead instead of asking for help once in my past. So this has been a huge area that I need to focus on being open to doing. And that's why I like to ask the who, what, why, when, why, who, what, where, when, why, and how of asking for help or getting help. Now, let's go through those and say, well, who do I ask for help? Who can I get help from when it comes to becoming an influencer, being an influencer, live video, whatever it is I want to do to become that influencer? Well, you can ask gurus or coaches, people in your industry. You can take courses. You can hire some done-for-you services. And we'll talk about this in the what a little bit more. Because I don't think you can outsource you, right? You can't, if you're going to be an influencer, it's all about building your personal brand, and you can't outsource that. You can outsource aspects of it, but you can't outsource being you, right? There's only one you, and that's why you're an influencer, is because you are unique. You have your own unique perspective and way of looking at the world. And somebody else can coach you on that, but they definitely can't do it for you. You're the one that has to show up, create content, and be you. So who can you look to? All of these people. But mostly, I will say you need to look within yourself and answer a lot of these questions for yourself before you look for outside help and outside resources. We love the Google. My daughter used to always say, Google that shit. I actually had a sign above my office at my Italian food business that was a picture of her doing a trick in snowboarding, and it said, Google that shit on it. Because, and I find so many people will ask other people, but really they're not asking because they are taking personal responsibility and want to know. They're asking because they want someone else to tell them what to do. Don't do that. Keep your personal power. Keep control of your own process. That's how you become an influencer and a leader, is by being a leader, being an influencer, finding the answers to your own questions. So Google, use YouTube. YouTube, you can find out how to do just about anything by searching the amazing power of YouTube and Google and asking the question. Just you type in a couple of words and boom, you have thousands and thousands, sometimes millions of answers, which is way more than you can go through. So I say then narrow down your search, refine your search. But just do it. Just ask the questions of those places first, and you will get more than enough answers about who can help you. Remember, whenever you're picking a who to work with in any aspect of your life, do a gut check, do an intuition check. Every time I haven't done this in my past, I've made a big, bad, huge mistake. And the few times that I did a gut check and my gut was screaming, yeah, there's something wrong here, there's something off, don't do it, and I did it anyway, boom, big, bad situations. Married the wrong man, had the wrong business partner, trusted the wrong friends, told people something in confidence that I thought would keep, and things like that we do, right? So always do the gut check. So that is our who. Now what do you want to get help with respect to building your influence, building your video presence or your online live video presence? You can find people that are experts in absolutely any aspect, but the most important thing to think about is, what do I need next? There is the propensity and the ability to get lost in the muck of information. There is so much information out in the world. We can get just buried in it, and we can go down all kinds of rabbit holes and the wrong paths and the wrong roads for us if we don't stick to What is the next thing I need to know? What is and I was just coaching one of my students about this weekend. What is the absolute positive next thing you need to do? Because he was going on and on about all these things he has to do before he gets to money. And I'm like, no, that's the wrong question. I didn't say, no, that's the wrong question, but it basically did. I said, well, what if you ask yourself, what is the absolute next thing I need to do to get to money? What is the absolute next thing I need to do to increase my influence, whichever way, shape, or form you are wanting to do that now? Okay, so what is really important, because otherwise we can get sidetracked. We can get off track. How do I know? I'm super guilty of that. I spent 2 years when I first went from the offline brick and mortar world to the online world, just chasing all these rabbit holes, believing I had to do all of these things before I could have success, before I could do a video, before I could talk to people, before I could make an impact, before I could do anything, before I could create an income. I thought I had to have all these things in place. I had to know how to do all these things myself. And it's absolute, complete, and utter BS. We can see examples of people all over the place that just do A, B, C, and boom, they've got it going on. So we have to quit telling ourselves that we have to do all these things before we can do the next thing, and just do the next thing. As soon as you do the next thing, the thing after that appears. It's kind of miraculous how that works. But as soon as you make a decision, the next thing you need to do becomes apparent. You just do that one thing. Don't try to do 12 things. Don't make a list of 100 things like I used to do, of all the things I have to do before this project gets done. Don't do that. I'm saying do the next thing. And maybe the next thing is you have to make that project list and assign people and get help with it. But make sure that that is the next thing you really need to do. Now, I will admit I still do those project lists and probably plan and Gantt charts and all that nerdy stuff. But if it isn't the next thing I need to do for a project, sometimes I just need to find out if it's something I should do. And maybe that's go online and do a Google search or a YouTube search and do some research and get some more information, or ask people in my market, is this even something that they need or want or desire? Or is it just something I need and want, desire, and is interesting for me? If it's just interesting for me, I can go out and do a little homework and solve that problem for myself. I don't need to create a whole project and a whole process and a whole course and a whole program or anything for my target audience if they don't even want it, right? So maybe research is the first go-to thing. And I actually am a huge researcher. I'm a nerd. I love researching. I love looking into things. I love studying things before I dive right into them. And this was a hard lesson learned, because when I first went to the online world, I created a whole product about stress because I was stressed out. I was super stressed out. There was a lot going on in my life, and I've had a lot of stress in my life, like everybody else. And so I thought, oh, I'm going to make this stress product, this stress challenge. It's going to be awesome. And guess what? Crickets. Nobody wanted it because I hadn't done my homework. I didn't know. Go find out who you can help and what their problems are, and then provide them solutions to their problems. I didn't know that back then. And so I spent all this time and energy, I'm talking months and months, creating this huge program, this huge membership area and everything. And it's still just sitting in mothballs because it wasn't what the people I want to work with wanted. And then it would attract people that I didn't want to work with. So it was kind of a lose-lose all the way around. So everything happens for a reason. It didn't sell because it wasn't the right direction for me to be going, right? So where are we going to find the help and the support that we need? It is everywhere. This world is so full of amazing, talented people that have skills and abilities that I don't and that we don't. It's easy to find help anywhere. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of sites online with experts and help in any area, any topic that you could possibly want. Just Google that, right? Just Google it. Ask the question. Go to Quora and ask the questions and get answers. I used to be Yahoo Answers, and Google used to have a site, and there used to be a bunch of question and answer sites. Go to one of them. But to be honest, the fastest, easiest way is to stick it in a search engine. It doesn't have to be Google. It can be Bing. It can be Yahoo. It can be whatever you use. But ask the question online, get a bunch of answers, and it will lead you to everything that you need. YouTube will give you a video and show you how to do just about anything you want or need. So do that. Just do it. So where to find the information? There's definitely no lack of information. I contend you can find and figure out and learn how to do absolutely positively anything you want in this day and age because of the internet, because of the access to information. Anyone can do anything. You just have to have the desire and want to do it. If you have the desire, you decide you're going to do it, the information's out there. Just get the information and do it. Why do we want to get help? Well, so we don't drop dead. So we don't try to do things that aren't in our genius zone, so that we don't waste our time and energy and efforts on things that we shouldn't be doing. When you want to become an influencer, it's all about being that influencer and working and sticking consistently in your genius zone. And this is one of the hardest things for many of us with lots of interests to do, is to pick that one thing that we're known for, that we're famous for, that people come to us for automatically because they know we are the go-to person that can help them with this problem, with this area of their life. And that's why we want to do it. We want to do it because we're already living in a noisy, maxed out, stressed out, crazy, chaotic world. And if we don't narrow our focus, if we don't get help with the things that are outside of our genius zone, if we don't get help with the things that we don't personally need to be doing, we will go crazy. We will kill ourselves. We will work ourselves to death and we will die. Ask me how I know this one, because that's what I used to do. So know that it's absolutely imperative. And that's why there's so many different people on the planet, right? Is because we're supposed to come together and help one another out and be at communities and help each other out in the things so that we can all be shining in the area that we're good at. So we can all be doing what we are awesome at. So how do we get help? How do we get help? Well, it's just usually a phone call or a click or a comment or a question or a message away, right? It isn't the how about getting help. It's pretty easy. Now, one of people's biggest objections and the biggest problem with getting help is, I can't afford it. I can't even pay myself. How am I going to pay someone else? And that is a simple mindset, catch-22. You know, you can keep doing everything yourself and really work yourself to death and not be effective, or you can start asking for help. You can barter help. You can, whatever it is that you do, whatever product or service that you do, you can, even if you're just starting out as an influencer, you can get people that are interested in what it is that you share, that want to join your cause, because we should all have a cause or a reason that we're being an influencer. You can barter with people. You can trade skills. You can trade products and services. You can figure out all kinds of creative ways. It's about being resourceful, not necessarily having the resources. That was one of the most powerful questions that I learned to ask myself. I used to grow up in a family where my dad would always find a way to afford things. He was very entrepreneurial. My mom was always we can't afford that. So I grew up in this dichotomy of anything's possible, but we can't afford that. And that message got convoluted in my brain and gave me a whole bunch of mind F's, right? Messed things up, because we get that. We get conflicting messages all the time. And our brain and our subconscious does the best it can with that information. But if it's, you know, diametrically opposed, it causes conflicts in our performance, our behavior, and our results. And until we look at those things and say, well, that doesn't make any sense. I will admit I was one of those people, and this is the stupidest belief ever, but I somehow linked up in my mind that I didn't want to make more money because I'd have to pay more taxes. Now, it's really funny because I heard Jim Edwards, I forgot about this, but I heard Jim Edwards on one of his Feeding the Chickens with Jim morning videos talking about that belief. And I just started laughing because somehow I had that belief, and I had to look at that and say, well, that's ridiculous, right? That is the most ridiculous thing on the planet. But somehow in my youth, that belief had gotten ingrained in my self-conscious. And until I was aware of it, I wouldn't allow myself to make any more money. It was just goofy. But then once I did free that up, I made $797,000 in one day because I got rid of that belief and I didn't care one bit about the taxes. So how is easy. There's a million ways how. Hire a guru, get a coach, do a course, take a course, get somebody to do it for you. If it's not in your genius zone, here's an example. I need to create my own content as an influencer. I don't need to do the processing or the dissemination of that content. So you get a VA to do that for you. You don't have to do everything. I'm not great at that part, right? Especially with my vision challenges. I'm getting less and less good at certain things that I'm really having a hard time letting go of, but I need to let go of those things because I need help in those areas. You know, when you're having a challenge in a certain area, you might need to hire somebody to work with you to take care of that area and to supplement that area. So I need to create my own videos. I need to do my own videos and create the content. But what happens to that content after I record the video, it's 100% doable by someone else, right? I can teach somebody else how to do those things. I cannot teach someone how to be me and show up on video and do my thing and talk to my audience like I do as me, because there's only one me, right? There's only one pajama grandma. There's only one Sharon Horne-Ellstrom pajama grandma anyway. So I can't outsource that, but I can outsource or get help with or hire darn near everything else that I need to do for my business and to become an incredible influencer. And the bigger you are as an influencer, the more people. It's just like building a business. And being an influencer is building a business. Let's be honest. You want to be an influencer because you want to build a business and impact the world in some way, shape, or form. Maybe it's a nonprofit influencer business, but it's still a business. Even nonprofits are business, right? So how do you do it? Pretty easy to get help, right? It's hard for some of us because we have hangups and beliefs about asking for help or getting help. But really, help is all around us if we just are open and willing to letting people help us. So that's it. That's my who, what, where, when, why, and how of getting help, asking for help. Our action item video today, it's a kind of an influencer's choice. You can either ask for help with something from your audience, or you can offer your audience help in some area or offer them. So either ask for it or offer help on your video today. That's it. Go out, make it an awesome day. I will, of course, be with you tomorrow with day 90 of our 90-day challenge. I know we're already at the end. I'm not going to lie. I'm very sad. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Do your video.